That's
So
right.
with me today is someone that I am sure you will want to know more about. Carmen is both a passionate teacher at Airbase K-8 through 8 Center and a returned Peace Corps volunteer herself. I wanted to share some of Carmen's insight with you today, and she is super eager, as you can see, to do that as well. So Carmen, first, thank you so much for joining us today and for your enthusiasm for us and for the Peace Corps Prep. I'm so excited to be able to share your story with our students. And let's start with your Peace Corps experiences first. So you served in Costa Rica from 1992 to 1995. Can you tell us a little bit about why you chose the Peace Corps?
Well, this is actually like a big circle all the way around to completion for me, because the reason I even found out about the Peace Corps was through my professors at FIU. So back in the day, I went to Miami-Dade right out of high school, then started FIU. And when I started interacting with the professors, there were certain professors that were just special. Certain professors that were very outspoken, that had amazing lives, that were very open-minded, that just seemed so connected and grounded at the same time, that when I started seeing what I wanted to do and that I wanted to travel and that I wanted to teach and that I was eager to get the rest of my life started, I started talking to those three professors, and all three professors had one thing in common, which is that they had served in the Peace Corps. And so I thought, if all of these three humans had one thing in common, and it's the Peace Corps, I need to find out about Peace Corps. So then I went to a booth in the student union, which looks nothing like the student union now, but she was in the student union, the Peace Corps recruiter. And I asked her, I said, so what's a Peace Corps? And since that conversation till the day I left, that was it. That was it. Once I heard about what I could do, that I could actually teach, make a difference in the world. I used to have a drawing in my room that was me with the world in my hands. And that's how I felt. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to make a change in the world. And Peace Corps is the way to do it. Peace Corps is the way to begin. And back then we didn't have, home computers or cell phones or anything like that. So it was a lot of mail back and forth between the Peace Corps office and myself. And then there was a Peace Corps office downtown. And once I met the recruiter that would walk me through the whole process, those conversations became very personal. And she almost became my therapist. And then, I was off to the Peace Corps. And when I came back, I went right back to her office and started working with her even then. So the reason I joined the Peace Corps was because I knew what kind of adult I wanted to be. And that desire to change the world and travel, but make a difference, was why I joined the Peace Corps.
Profound. I like the idea of imagining the adult you would like to be, because I think that that's something that you are uniquely poised to do at a university, at a place like FIU. And I was in the Graham Center when it was the Pit in the 90s.
The Pit, that's right.
Nobody watching this video will know that but us, but I remember something about that environment that I agree is really conducive to saying, what are my possibilities?
Absolutely.
Now, you didn't participate in the Peace Corps prep program because it didn't exist when you were at FIU. But is there anything that you did in your courses, other than these professors who were so broad-minded that inspired you? Is there anything that you did that you are grateful for, that you think prepared you for serving with the Peace Corps in Costa Rica?
Honestly and truly, and to be transparent, my academia, what was happening within those minutes of class, I can honestly tell you, probably not. It was the conversations that those professors had with me about their life experiences and the whys and the whos. And when I would go to office hours, so all of you who are in college right now, go to office hours. Go to office hours, speak to your professors. You'll never have that open access to individuals that have had much more life experiences than you. So do it, go to office hours, talk to your professors, because I was the kind of student that would question a lot. And why did I get this grade? And why didn't I get this grade? And well, how can I do it different? And I was a talker, and the conversations we had in office hours were the ones that really impacted and started making me think about what life would be like in the Peace Corps and what I needed to do to prepare. When I got my assignment, I didn't even know where in Latin America Costa Rica was. So that speaks to me about the geography background I got, K through 12, right? I didn't even know where Costa Rica was on the map. And mind you, now everything's at the end of your fingertips, right? You can just Google that. But when I was growing up and when I was going to school, it wasn't like that. So I honestly did not even know where Costa Rica was on the map. And I went to the bookstore because that's what you did. And I got a book, Travel to Costa Rica, and the cover had the rainforest on it. And I thought, oh, this is going to be great. I remember that was my reaction at 21 years old. This is going to be great. I'm going to love Costa Rica. All I needed to know was that there was jungle there. That's all. And that is truly all I knew. So I have to be honest, these students that have the Peace Corps prep and programs like it, because when I was looking for a university program for my daughter, who was graduating now from college, we went to UGA, University of Georgia at Athens, and they did have a program. I don't know if it's Peace Corps prep or something like that, but the end goal was for them to go to the Peace Corps. And that was the first time I even realized that I discovered that, and that was 5 years ago. It is a great thing to do, to prepare yourself to go, to make sure that you're ready.
That's wonderful, because that's something that I think I've noticed more myself with working with this new group of students. They don't just want to do this to go through the motions. They don't want to add something to their resume. They really want to be able to serve and do something when they finish this program, which then that's important that we're able to do that, I would think.
Absolutely. And when I said that the recruiter downtown was my therapist, her job was to weed out individuals, young people, that all they wanted to do was go on an adventure. So her job was to weed out, like her job was to figure out, how serious are you about this? What does service mean to you? Have you ever served before? You know, your church, your community. So she was asking all those questions that you know, through this program are making a reality for these students in a much more reflective, structured way. So I think programs like this Peace Corps prep are instrumental to a quality experience for the country, for the Peace Corps, and for the student. So I love it.
What would you say was the best part about the Peace Corps?
Everything. I've got to tell you, they were the best 3 years of my life. It is the only time that you are completely dedicated to, the only time I was completely dedicated to my self-growth, pursuing interests, matching your talents with people's needs. And, you know, among the things I did in the Peace Corps, one of the things was I had a real passion for exercise. I'm going to date myself big time, but I was an aerobics instructor. That's how I made some extra money when I was in college. I taught aerobics. So when I was in the Peace Corps and saw that we needed to raise some money to get some supplies for my early childhood classes, the community leader said, "But you love to exercise. Why don't you charge for an exercise class, and that money can go to the preschool?" So I literally taught aerobics classes in Costa Rica in the 90s to raise money to buy blocks for my 4-year-olds. So it's a unique time in your life where you can actually pursue your passions and make an impact every day. As a teacher, you make an impact every day. I feel that that's one of the blessings to be in education, that you impact children's lives, you impact their parents' lives, so that, you know, you go home and I can honestly say I feel good at night. But in the Peace Corps, it's that feeling times 1,000. So the best part of the Peace Corps was to be able to really impact so many people in a positive way, and just be dedicated to that for 2 years. Just dedicate yourself to that. So that's the best part.
What were some of your challenges?
The challenges were adapting to inner city San Jose. I grew up in Corona, Queens, in New York. We lived in a not so good part of town, but I was a kid. My parents sheltered me. And so within that, I felt safe. But then I had all of those fears as a child, you know, like that my parents would put in my head: don't go down that alley, don't go do this, you know, turn your ring around, don't let them see it. You know, that fear of living in an inner city where you know, where we had, you know, crime was an issue every day. But then I moved to Florida, and a lot of that went away because I didn't live in an inner city environment. So then fast forward, I'm thinking again, remember Costa Rica, the jungle, you know, Fodor's Lonely Planet. I'm thinking I'm going to go live in a treehouse, and that's fabulous. That's what I want. No running water, no electricity. It's going to be awesome. And then because I speak Spanish, they assigned me inner city San Jose. So now I'm in a crime-ridden area. Drug addiction's an issue. There's lots of risk, and I have to learn how to navigate that, you know, as a 21-year-old woman, and all those fears that I didn't realize were fears. I mean, I was preparing myself, you know, for rats and snakes, and then I get there and I'm back to where I grew up. That was a challenge for me. It was a challenge for me. So I had to find the right housing. I ended up renting a room from a family, and my teenagers, because I went in as a early childhood teacher and ended up doing a lot of urban youth development. And then the teenagers that I had found so scary and threatening because they were screaming, you know, obscenities at me, ended up being my protectors, ended up being my caregivers, ended up being my personal bodyguards. And I never had, I can honestly say I never had a problem with my personal safety. But, you know, and I realize that's not the case everywhere, but I do feel that, again, you need to find your way. And then at the end of those 2 years, you can say, wow, I did that. I did that. So yeah, that was the hardest part. I guess my expectations of living in the jungle and then ending up in the inner city, and then my baggage of inner city, what that meant. But then again, you know, matching your gifts to your goals. I wanted to see the country. I wanted to, you know, have that treehouse experience. So I expressed that. And because I spoke the language, my country director ended up sending me out on a lot of professional development where I would train my colleagues that were in the jungle, by the water, out in the banana fields. And so I was able to see a lot of the country and live those experiences that were not mine, because I made myself, I expressed that I want this. I want to be able to see these different areas. I want to see the needs that people have in these different pockets of this teeny tiny country. And luckily they felt that I, you know, was an asset enough to be able to send me out, and I was able to have the jungle and the volcano and the beach and the banana plantation community experience in addition to my inner city.
I'm glad you shared that. I would say that several of our new students, our new PCP members, are interested in several different areas, and when they had some trouble narrowing down an interest, we were lucky enough to have our local recruiter come on to our orientation, and she mentioned, similar to your experience, that she had some additional interest in a side field and she really wanted to develop them, and she was able to get the support, and she was actually able to pair up with others who worked in that sector. And I think that that's important, because I love what you said at the beginning about personal development and how this is a time where you focused on your self-development and improving the way you interact with the world. And this is a golden opportunity that you don't get in life in other aspects.
No, you don't. It's, you know, you talk about your Peace Corps service, but the Peace Corps serves you more than it does anybody else, any country, any other entity. You know, my goal was to become like those three professors at FIU, where I saw them so grounded and so worldly at the same time, and they just, no problem was too big. No big deal. It's all right. We can handle this. I wanted that. I wanted that feeling inside. And serving in the Peace Corps does give you that, because it gives you the self-confidence to know there's no problem too great. I have this all within me to solve and to work through. And to know that when you serve others, the one who is served is yourself.
I was originally planning on interviewing you about your experience as a teacher, but I want to save that for next time, because this is going to be the first in a series, and we're going to get you live in front of our students hopefully soon. I know, right? They're so inspiring and motivating when you meet this group of young people. I'll tell you, every time I speak to them, I feel like a scrub and slacker, because they are so amazing. So I just want to wrap up today with some advice time. So what tips do you feel you can share with the students today who are preparing themselves, and how can you help them follow in your footsteps? As a teacher, as someone who helped shape young minds, as someone who is a fearless global thinker, who practices global citizenship and went out to have a jungle experience, what advice would you like to share with our students today?
I think that self-awareness and knowing yourself is the most valuable thing that you can invest in. Knowing and being honest with yourself, because some of us kind of downplay our strengths and over criticize ourselves, and don't do that. You know, if I could talk to my my younger self, I would definitely tell myself, you're good at so many things. Your strength is that you love people. Your weaknesses are that you're impulsive. You know, work on being more reflective. So if I could talk to myself, I would do a lot more self-reflection even before I left. Within that college time, what are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? How can I build on my weaknesses? And then also, you know, talk to the people who love you, who have the best thing in mind for you. Talk to them and ask them, what are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? Because once you have that level of self-awareness, you can set goals for yourself, personal goals. And I do think that it's never, ever, ever too late to stop growing, and to really, it's never too late or too early to start making that difference. You know, like a lot of young people say, well, I don't have the money to do that, or I don't have the money to do that. You know, neither did I. And you figure it out, and as long as you put that energy out into causes that you really care about, and as long as you keep serving others, that will come back to you. And we're going to talk about my teaching later, but you know, years later, you know, I'm raising my family, I'm married, I'm putting my husband through college, and a Peace Corps friend of mine, a lady that I met through the Peace Corps, said, you know what, I'm getting ready to go with this nonprofit to India. Do you want to go? I mean, we were having rice and salchichas because we had $0 to go anywhere, and my friend is telling me, do you want to go? And of course, you know, the answer is like, my bags are packed. Where are we going? What are we doing? And I had an opportunity to go work in the slums of Mumbai in a teaching capacity. So, you know, as long as you keep your goals at the forefront and you just keep serving and working and serving and working, you know, you can, you know, you can save the world all the way into your old age, just like me.
Inspiring. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, that's wonderful. All right, so there will be more to come. This is just a teaser for those of you, just to get us started. I'm trying to start this series, as Carmen and I have spoken about recently, to help keep us get more engaged with the program and do exactly what we've been talking about here. How do we prepare ourselves for this kind of service? So stay tuned for more events. Carmen, if you want to stick on the line for a minute, I want to share some news and events with you as well. Thank you so much for sharing your insight and your stories with us. We hope to hear more from you very, very soon.
Absolutely. I'd love it.